Good afternoon, Mrs. Love.
Okay, we are starting up on a project. This is your second major grade of the 9 weeks. It is going to be with a thing that you're familiar with already, Google Earth. All right, we're all familiar with that. And it's going to be having to do with something that you've been learning a lot about the last few days, really the last week and a half, right? Because we've been talking about plate tectonics, tectonic landforms, right? What are our 3 types of plate boundaries? Give me one of them. Oscar, give me one. Transform, right?
Convergent.
Right. Convergent, yep, absolutely. Anybody else? Thomas.
Divergent.
And divergent, absolutely, right? Transform, moving past each other. Convergent, coming together. Divergent, moving apart. Okay? Can somebody tell me a landform that goes with divergent, so moving apart? Remember? Oscar, you got one?
Oceanic ridges, like.
Yep. Yeah, mid-oceanic ridges, right? Those oceanic crusts are moving apart. Magma is coming up, filling that gap, creating a ridge. They're all the way down the middle of the ocean where it's splitting apart, moving apart, right? Think of it like, kind of like if you were to accidentally like split your skin open, right? It would bleed and it covers up, heals up, and you have new skin there, right? Same sort of deal with the crust. Okay, what about, and really there's only one major landform with, actually, what's another one that what's another one with these divergent boundaries? So we've got that, we've got mid-oceanic ridges, what else? What about on land? What do we call that? Say again? No, oh yeah, valleys, right? What kind of valleys? Do you remember? Starts with R. Rift valleys. Rift valleys, absolutely, yeah. That crust is pulling apart, getting kind of thin, kind of drops, a bunch of cracks are created. You typically end up with a bunch of volcanic activity because the crust is pretty thin right there, right? Okay, yeah, very good, rift valleys. What about transform? What about these transform boundaries, these boundaries that are going past each other? Really, there's only one like major landform we're gonna get from that. What would that be? Say it again. Fault lines. Fault lines, yeah, for sure, fault lines, okay? And these can run a long way, these can run a short ways, just depends, but it is gonna typically run almost the entire length of that plate boundary, right? Where those 2 plates are moving past each other. Okay, what about, and this one's the one that really kind of has some of the most landforms associated with it, is the convergent. What do we have? Brad, what do we have for convergent boundaries? Do you remember a landform? Does anybody else remember?
We make like mountains.
Mountain building, right? Mountains. We have mountains. So 2 continental plates come together, they hit each other, build up in the mountains. Okay? Or one gets pushed up underneath the other one, and it builds up mountains. But it also builds something else. What's this low area right here? It's a subduction, it is a subduction zone, but what specifically right here in this little notch right here, what is that? We're under the water. We're way under the water.
Islands?
Not an island. We have 2 pieces of crust coming together, right? One goes up underneath the other, and that makes a really, really low spot. Trenches. Trenches, absolutely. So you will have these trenches, right? It's gonna form a low spot. It's gonna be actually the lowest point in the ocean that we know of, right? Those trenches are gonna be very, very low spots. Oscar, you said islands. What do you mean by that?
Like land that forms from, like Hawaii or something?
Yeah, that's more of a hot spot, but I like where you're going with that. What about where you have a subduction zone? So say this plate is going underneath this other one. What's being created right here? So that plate's going underneath that other one, right? And it's starting to melt. What happens to all that stuff that was melted, all that crust, all that rock that's starting to melt? Where does it go?
Pushed down,
Does it get pushed down?
or it gets pushed up.
Some of it gets pushed up, and what do they create? Volcanoes, right? So we've got volcanoes, that's another landform. Although for this project, I will say, you're gonna be picking some landforms. Avoid volcanoes for now, we'll get to volcanoes later on, okay? But when that plate goes up underneath this other one, gets subducted down in there, it's gonna create a bunch of volcanoes, and it's gonna create a bunch of islands, and they're in the form of an island. What's that shape? What's another word for a curve? Starts with an A, and it's definitely not right behind me on the board. Okay, I forgot to erase it from the other class. So yeah, island arc, right? An island arc. Japan is an example of this. Okay. Japan, Philippines, these are all examples of an island arc, where one plate's going up underneath the other. Very volatile place. That's why Japan has all those volcanoes. Have you all ever seen Mount Fuji? Right? Mount Fuji, good example of that, big volcano. A whole bunch of volcanoes all throughout Japan. That's why they have the earthquakes, right? But you go right off the coast of Japan, and there's a trench where the Pacific plate's going up underneath the plate, okay? Questions about that? Does everybody kind of remember a lot of that stuff from the readings from before? Yeah, everybody's pretty good with that? Okay. Well, you guys are going to now be taking some of that knowledge and taking your past knowledge of Google Earth and putting that together into one project, okay? So for your project, actually, I guess that thing turned off. Let me get your project instructions pulled up